Wednesday is July the 31st, 2019. The market's been pretty good the last week, especially in Aussie where we've had a lot of spec stocks fly in. The US earnings season's continuing. Apple announced their earnings after market close last night, and they're up about 4 to 5% in after hours trade at the moment. So hopefully that'll boost the US market a little bit tomorrow over the next few days. It's pretty much the main stock in the US and so their earnings is pretty important for the broader market usually. A bit of a sell down in software stocks in the US. There's a report that came out that was just a bit bearish and it just got sold down. However, they're still, as far as I'm concerned, the leading stocks in the US market and the big software companies. So just watching basis set up in numerous software stocks at the moment. A little stock I talked about last week, ECL on New York Stock Exchange. Broke out last night, had an earnings come out. It kind of opened below resistance, and then the earnings report was good, and it raced up. So jumped on board that breakout last night. Lovely base. It's always harder when it breaks out before earnings, but when it breaks out the day of earnings and the report is a huge, beat and better report than expected, then have no problem just trading that breakout as per usual. Other things that I've been up to this week is BIN. I talked about a few weeks ago, reached its ascending triangle profit target, so I bailed on that when it hit the target up here. I think it was like 2.67 or 2.68 or something like that. It's back down now where I bought it pretty much. So yeah, I like profit targets. It's just my personality. I hate seeing a decent profit just get withered away super quickly, unless it's a long-term investment, and that's a different story. But for the trading stuff, I like to lock things in. Now, other things I've been up to, I had a crack at BIT this week, last week and this week. Broke out on the 21st of July, big volume. Started well and gave this huge bearish candle the next day. So that was my sign to bail on that. So then the next day I managed to get out for a little profit, pretty small profit on that. But it just, for these spec things and high risk things, I'm looking for powerful breakouts that just continue. And when I don't get that, I'm looking to scratch a trade as close to break even as I can. So that's how I did that one. It didn't obviously work out as planned on MEI. I got out of that at break even pretty much, and now it's been sailing up since then. But that's the life of trading. You can't possibly predict the future, and no one has crystal balls. You just need to have a system and be consistent. It's all about consistency, and then the profits start coming. Other things we've been up to this week is had a massive breakout on GLL. Set up in a default Davis box, and it was put on someone put it on the apologies, can't remember who, on the Protrader Facebook page. It was a good pickup by that person, and thanks for that. So that was a good breakout out of that thing now, but it's got all the characteristics of wanting to go on with it. Now, some of the gold stocks I have been stopped out of. Northern Star. I was stopped out of Silver Lake. I was using a 1-bar reversal, so I stopped up here on Silver Lake. I'm still in Newcrest, which was behaving. And I entered CLQ this week when it broke this ascending triangle here. It kind of had a nice breakout and it's pulled back a bit on low volume, so I'm just hanging out to see what that does. I'm happy to sit with that for a bit and be a bit patient with it. Entered a trade in MVF, so had a really nice breakout on big volume, and it's just stuffing around a bit at the moment on low volume, but has never showed a loss that trade, so I'm going to sit with that. I have a profit target up quite high on this, so just going to be patient and let it do its thing. PointsBet, talked about a bit. I entered at 306 and it's just stuffed around. It's printing so many of these bearish candles where it opens on the high and closes on the low, which is really not ideal and not what you want to see. So I've bailed this. I've bailed out of that at the same price I got in at $3.06. So happy to get out of that and not make a loss. I thought I was going to get stopped out here on the 24th of July, and I was pretty sure I was going to get stopped out some of the other days, but there seems to it's not. It was a nice setup, but it didn't work out, and I'm pretty happy to get out of that for break even minus commission. So that's how I view those things. I try and take a bet on them that they're going to go, they zoom high, and if they don't kind of do that and behave like I think they should when they break out, then I just try and, as I discussed last week, minimise the damage and bail. Okay, so that's all the stocks I really wanted to chat about in terms of ones I've chatted about previous weeks and what I've been up to this week. I just wanted to run through a few stocks that I'm looking at the moment. Just I'm watching setup, and then I will just go through. There's a bit of interest out there of day trading, and I do a lot of it, and so it's probably takes up a lot of my time, I guess. So I'm going to just give one strategy example of what I do, but I'm going to do that at the end. So let's just go. I'm watching WPP. It's this tight little pattern here. I've got orders in here, so if this breaks out, I'll be in, hopefully. I have a feeling the fill is going to be pretty crappy on this thing, so I might need to pay up and not be too much of a tight ass on it. But anyway, it's a nice little tight pattern. It's just 200-day moving average is still sloping down. I'd like it to be sloping up, but it's got some good characteristics there, nice volume profiles and that sort of stuff. PET is in a dark. PET is a pretty explosive stock in the Davis box. Ascending triangle, I guess you could call it, but it just came up in a data scan. This guy might break out today. I'm not sure, but yeah. So it's a nice setup. I'm watching VEA form. I want this to base for longer, but it's certainly starting to tighten, so hopefully that continues to tighten. I'm still watching ABR. It had a bit of a bad day today. We'll see how that closes. So that one might be out. I was watching Auckland International. However, it broke down. It was forming this tiny little pivot here. Had a few wicks off this 21-day moving average and then closed on its high. I thought it could be nice to set up and a breakout here, but it failed down. So that's what I like about this sort of trading. The stocks that don't, break out, you just never enter them, and so there's no harm done. So it's all good. I'm watching ASB. So this was not an earnings announcement here. This wasn't earnings. This was just a guidance for earnings announcement. So this company's doing well. Their earnings is coming up, but it's expected to be pretty good. I love this gap up and the fact it hasn't been closed, and it's just basing out on low volume. So I'm going to be watching this for breakout and high volume and jumping in. I'm watching a little specky, PRX, Prodigy Gold. Big volume on the formation. It's starting to tighten on lower volume. Obviously gold's pretty hot right now, so I think it's worth watching that one. Good old MPL. I've been in and out of this a few times. It's tightening in a little range up here. I think it's it's got potential there. So I'm just watching that tighten up. These Bollinger Bands are probably starting to. I never use Bollinger Bands really, except for to see. I like to see them squeezing. It's the only time I ever use it, and it's just if this just chills out and goes sideways for a bit longer, and these Bollinger Bands just continue to come in, and it just is squeezes and squeezes. It just adds a bit of conviction for me to go kind of maybe a bit bigger on that trade. I definitely think you can have some massive moves after watching that Bollinger Band compress. Another one I'm watching that's just showing a bit of relative strength to the other lithium stocks is LPI. Lithium's getting hammered. Like if you look at PLS, I mean I've been short this thing a few times, and it just looks like it wants to go down the gurgler, as Frank would say. So it's, I don't want anything to do with that, but if, LPI, I'm just watching, it's in this Davis box. I'm just going to be patient and just watch it carve out. And I want it to go sideways for longer, but if it can do that and then break out in big volume, I'm going to consider that one. A stock that I've traded a bit, looks like I'm in this today, but AB1, it formed this huge base back here on, broke out 5th of April, went up. It's, it's a bit of a volatile stock and chop around a bit, but then it's just been going sideways and it's broken out today, I think. And the other one, this one's a bit slow and boring moving. I think they're an investment company, financials, something like that. So BTI, I mean, lovely base back here that broke out on the 12th of April or 13th of April or something. Lovely move up, formed another base, broke up. So, I mean, it's just its third base in a row. So, I'll probably be happy to take that one. But, it's starting to mature a bit. If you look at it on a longer term chart, it hasn't gone up that much. It's probably got a lot left in it. It's a bit slow moving, and you're not going to triple your money quickly. So it's not really for me, that one bit. I thought it was a nice base that's starting to tighten up. All right, so that is a rattle through on. I think there was one other one which I forgot to write down that I'm watching. Nickel Mines. I traded this the other week. It exploded up. Awesome move. I'm watching this base. I'm hoping this has another move left in it. The thing I like about this stock is when it has moves, it just has moves. Like if you look at this move back here from 9th of Jan to 27th of Feb, it just went, it didn't stuff around, it didn't chop back too much, it stayed above its 10-day moving average. There was the same with this breakout back here. It just, it never had huge wicks down to shake people out below the 10-day moving average or anything. It just stayed above it and went up. They're the sort of stocks that I really like. I like the personality of this thing. I know it can act right, and so I'm going to watch it, and any breakout this thing gives me, I'm going to pretty much take it, as long as it's obviously a legit breakout. Okay, so now I do a bit of day trading, and I can talk about it in a lot more detail in other weeks if people are interested in this stuff. I just thought that I would rattle through that. There's a few different strategies I use, but I guess my main one, the one I like the best probably is, it's called a second day play. This is this firm in America called 7 Points Capital, which I forget the names of the guy that started it. But anyway, they have, many years ago, I did a bunch of educational things and really, really studied hard how, they're a prop desk, they're a proprietary trading firm, and I did a lot of study on how they trade. And they have, the guy that started it, he's got a few books. One's called The Playbook, and the other one's called One Good Trade, I believe. So they're good books. I mean, they're a bit American, and they go on and on a bit about the firm, and a bit of there's not, they get a lot of divergences, but they're decent books. But anyway, they have good strategies, and one thing I like to do. So NSP had this huge. So first of all the day trading I do, it all starts with the Protrader charts, with the daily charts. And I do scans where I look for gaps up and down. So you can just find that anywhere but in these scanning functions. But let's just say here, so I'll do the scan, that's find any stock that left a gap up, find any stock that left a gap down. I do that every day for the NASDAQ, NISI and the Aussie markets. And I combine that with, breakouts and massive volumes, but the gap scan is brilliant, but also the volume, huge volume and breakouts. But when I'm struggling for time, I just do the gap scans because it just finds what I'm looking for. And so ideally what I'm looking for is a stock that gaps down or gaps up on absolutely gigantic volume. And the bigger the volume, the better. You want it to be 3, 4, 5, 6 times average volume. You just want to show you want to see that there's absolute desperation to get out or get in of that stock. But then also, really, really importantly, that candle needs to either close, if you're looking for a short day trade, that candle needs to close either at the low or incredibly close to the low of that candle, or at the high or incredibly close to the high. I don't want to see big wicks like this thing here, this candle back here on the 29th of April. That's no good, because there's a huge wick here. It came down, bounced off its 200-day moving average and had this big wick up and closed. So I just move on from that. But this one, obviously its earnings came out, its earnings are crap, it gapped down, it just got dumped all day long on massive volume, and then it closed near its low. So, buyers never stepped up to the plate there, and the volume was gigantic, and it was really bad news. And so I know that all the big money out there just wanted to bail from that thing, and there was just no buying that came in. And then I will flick to the daily chart, an intraday chart. This is a 5 or 10 minute or something like that. And so obviously this is just the brokerage that I use. They have pretty good charting. This line here is a VWAP, which anyone that's interested in day trading can look that up for themselves. It's probably the only indicator I put on charts, on intraday day trading charts. obviously volume, but there's VWAP and volume that you're looking at, and price. That's the only things that I've found that help. And so this is the previous day here, just coming down and down and down and down and down and down. And then what I'm doing is I'm getting these intraday charts. I'm trying to find ones, because there's so many candidates, there's so many stocks in the US where these big gap up and gap downs are happening. But I'm trying to find something that's also giving me a base towards the end of the day, the previous day on that candle. And so when I got here, I found that, okay, like the next day it woke up 9:30 at the New York stock market open. It kind of opened at about the same price that it closed, and then broke the low of the previous day. Okay, and so that's my sign to enter. I just jump in there, and the theory is that the second day play, you're going to get a follow through of the previous day's move. And so that's what I got. I scale out of these positions. I personally just take a full position on this breakout, and then I get out half at 1-to-1 and half at 2-to-1. I sometimes get out at the third of it, actually third at 3-to-1. Sometimes I'll scale in if it's a super good position and take multiple positions. But this one is just full position on the breakdown, and then half off here and half off here, and then I'm out and I'm off to bed, and that's done. The thing I love about these second day trades is that that's usually always done within an hour of open, and so it just means that I'm not sitting there staring at screens all day long. You get your breakout, you grab your money, and you go to bed. So if there's any interest in day trading stuff, I can talk about that more. Obviously, probably the long-term position trading and the short-term momentum stuff on the daily and weekly charts is what most people are interested in. But if there are any, if there's people out there that want more talk about scalping, about true trading, then maybe leave a note at the bottom of this video, and I can go through some other strategies and stuff. Anyway, I hope that was good. Catch ya. Bye bye.